So I'm here with Witching. First of all, thank you for the interview. My first question is, can you speak about the upcoming release, Incendium?
Oh yes. Um, our new record Incendium comes out next Friday, right?
Yeah,
The
27th.
27th on Translation Lost Records. It's our second full length, and it's, I would say, much more intense than our last release.
Yeah, I guess we've become more technical, but we still have the same like emotional basis for a lot of the songs. That kind of makes us what we do, what we do. Um, I think it's a much more positive album, as far as like the theme being like refining yourself, like being a better person and forgetting like leaving things behind in the past that didn't serve you. Um,
Yeah, like the first album, Vernal, it was basically me reliving a lot of trauma and sharing it with the audience. So I think performing a lot of that record was just maybe unhealthy.
I think it was, getting it out.
It was getting it out. Um, I think Korn talked about that with one of their albums. um, yeah, the first record was just me getting it out, and this record is kind of like, okay, it's time to move forward and do something. Yeah.
And about composition, or was the creativity process for this album? Or did you compose it?
For composition, so with I'll start like with the first LP, Vernal. That was more of us just figuring out our like how we were growing as a band, like with our sound. So we started out as like really sludgy, really doomy stuff, but the technicality like just crept in and changed everything, but we still wanted to be very emotive. So we were still figuring that out, I think, with Vernal. But this album, we're very much like on, I think, the right track as far as our sound. Everything feels right. It's not so much of an experiment as a refinement in our sound.
I saw that you wrote the lyrics. Can you tell me more about your inspiration and the red line of the lyrics on this album?
I think so. Nate goes in with the music, and we talk about. I always ask him, like, hey, what were you feeling during all of this? And I try to get my inspiration from what drove him to write the compositions. And we're like pretty close friends, so what he brings about his compositions inspire me to think about my own personal things. So I I feel like this record I'm detaching a lot of myself. So it's like kind of me grieving a part of me that I'm letting go, but I'm afraid to say goodbye to. In the lyrics, I find myself talking to myself a lot.
Okay.
So it's a duality process, and it's angry, but it's like what Nate said earlier, is positive.
Okay. Could you speak about the artwork and the signification and the link with the musics?
We chose Lyron Cantor to do the artwork. I was really inspired by his work when Venom Prison dropped Erebos in 2021, 2020. I basically was like, wow, I just love this style, and I just started researching him. We reached out to Lyron, and, we were like, the album's called Incendium, and we want it to be symbolic of burning away of the old flesh. And I think his artwork translates the record perfectly. Do you want to say anything?
No, that was good.
Yeah.
Was it hard for your band, to grow as a mainly queer band in the death metal scene? Are there a lot of discriminations in this scene?
I think that back home, our metal scene is pretty inclusive. In Philadelphia in general, I would say that our metal scene back home is mostly queer people. There are like some assholes that will come out, but they don't really stick around. This entire tour has been very lovely. We only ever had one incident at a show where someone got kicked out for saying something like homophobic, right?
Yeah.
I will say the members in our band who are queer do have a lot of concerns sometimes, especially going to bigger festivals, like this. It can be intimidating for people like that who might not feel included or feel like people might not be okay with them being there. So I think it's a learning curve for all of us, and I think that if anything were to happen, we definitely have everyone's back.
You have a very powerful and deep voice, and people usually surprised to see a woman with such a voice as a leader singer. When they expect a man, do you get a lot of misogyny commentaries for that?
Do I get a lot of what? Oh, misogynistic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the beginning, I would say it was more present.
People were kind of saying they were trying to be complimentary, but they were saying the wrong thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
They'd be like, "Oh, that was really good for a girl."
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
just like kind of backhanded compliments, and they would go, "Oh, I was surprised to see you up there." One time, someone said to me like, "Oh, like when did you learn how to get into metal?" And it was just really weird because I was like, I didn't learn how to get into metal. Like I just like love metal. Like some of those comments stuck with me just to be like a reminder, like, okay, we are pushing boundaries every day. It is something that like I tried not to pay attention to when we started the band because it made me angry, but now I'm realizing, especially like a lot of like women and femme people come up to me after shows, and it feels good to have other people there. And I try to focus on people during the show who normally wouldn't be there. I feel like it brings light to a lot of people that maybe wouldn't be here before.
The name of your band is Witching. Were you inspired by Salem's Trials or other witches you'd like to talk about?
Wait, inspired by what?
Salem's Trials.
Oh.
So, I don't think Salem's Trials so much, but like I think the idea was, well, we loved the sound of the name first of all, like, and we were really surprised that nobody had taken it.
Yeah.
But I guess what it means to me is that we are able to sort of put our emotions out into the ether with our music, and everyone that can hear it will respond to it and take different things from it differently. So yeah, I think it has something to do with, this unseen emotion that you can pick up on with the music.
Yeah, like, we do, when we started, people will be like, oh, witching, like pointy hats, and it's like, no, it actually has nothing to do with that. We're not, like, casting spells in the lyrics. Like, maybe 2 songs off our 2018 EP were, like, super witchy. And I did feel pressured in the beginning of the band to come off a certain way and look a certain way. I used to wear a lacy cape, not a cape, but it was like a lacy gown. And I was like, this is not me. I think the word witching is the act of doing something. So you're constantly going. It's the act of. So whether it be the act of making someone feel really pumped up at a show or emotional, crying, like for me, it's the act of like letting go, the act of being and doing. So I think the word itself is just, the verb.
And also using emotion in a positive way. So if something bad happens in your life, you can learn something from it and choose not to be negative about it and choose to grow from it.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. That's a big motivator for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw on your merch, especially your T-shirts, that you have a medieval aesthetic. Are you inspired by the medieval era for your songs?
I'll say at least composition-wise, I took about 3 years of like classical guitar training, so I sort of lean towards that sort of sound in my music, but that's all I can say about.
I started singing in like my church choir, so a lot of imagery was just instilled in my head at a young age, and I like to question it often, but I don't think we ever had a discussion about medieval themes actually. No. So it is a good question, but I don't think it's a driving force of the witching merch.
I think it's just
a vibe.
Okay. How the tour is going? Any special and funny facts to tell?
Well, we're having a great time. This is our first European tour. I just remember before we left, I was like, oh shit, this is happening, Nate. We worked together, so we were counting the days down. First, like every show has been well received. We met y'all at the first one. Everyone was going wild, and the second day we played the Black Metal Anti-Fascist Fest in Bern, Switzerland, and it just feels very different here than it does back home. I feel like we're being received here, and people are like, wow, I've never heard of your band until like 2 days ago or yesterday. I just came to the show to check it out. And it's just, everyone's just been so kind. I will say one of the funny things that happened on tour was, it's probably really not funny, but when we were just driving and Pierre said like, blast beats, they're like vitamin C. And I don't know, a lot of funny shit happened on this tour. What happened funny for you, Nate?
I went to the ER twice with a kidney stone. That was really funny.
It was actually horrible.
Yeah. What else? What else happened on this tour that was? We stayed at a very interesting apartment one night with I don't know how to describe this without giving too much away, but it was
interesting.
It was just interesting folks.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away and hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah. Everyone's been just so lovely to us, and we're just grateful to be here, and it feels very good knowing I can last 22 days without losing my voice. I will say today is like the first day I felt a little under the weather, but also the weather sucks.
Yeah.
So it's just been overall a great experience.
In the video clip you released 4 years ago, called False Martyr, the black and white aesthetic somewhat feels like a movie. Do you find inspiration in movies or TV shows?
No. No.
I do.
I don't really watch a lot of TV or movies, but
Oh yeah, Nate doesn't watch TV at all. He reads books under candlelight. It's true. He's an old man at heart. Our friend Dan White did that video, and he also did our other video, A Piece of My Story Dies with Them. But he helped us with the vision, and we wanted it to be in black and white because we were going out into nature. It's dark. We were like super doomy and sludgy back then. The witch vibes were going strong. I definitely had like a cape on, and there was a mirror figure, and I don't regret it. It was great. I got to my friend drowned me in this creek in Philadelphia, and I was so sick afterwards from the water. But it was definitely a spooky vibe.
Yeah. You made another video clip. Sorry for my pronunciation. Comment tu prononces ça, toi?
Eschaton.
Okay. You can see a mix between painting and body art. Did you ever consider mixing art and music on stage by making art performance in live?
Right. So that was another video by Dan White, and the concept was my friend and our publicist Shannon Void helped me come up with that idea. And after we made the video, I did think about, what would witching be like if we did crazy shit like that on stage. It would be interesting, I think, one day to do that, but right now I don't think we're at a place to add theatrics to our performance. I want it to be more personal and intimate, and I feel like if I got theatrical, it would take away my honest self.
Okay.
I feel like we try to be pretty energetic when we perform, and I think, I don't know, maybe theatrics might take away from that.
Yeah, I feel like we tried to be theatrical in the beginning.
Yeah, we'd always play in the dark.
We did buy capes one time, and our former bandmate bought them online, and they were children's capes by accident. And we were like, you know what? That's just a sign that we're just not doing capes ever.
Okay. What is your own definition of being an artist?
My definition of being an artist. Sorry, I'm sniffling. I would say for me, it's heavily on what my heart and soul needs to create and just letting it out. Besides being in a band, I'm also like a painter, and I'll just get these urges to just go paint like 5 pieces, and then I'll go into hibernation. But then I'm like, oh, I need to make all this art, and if I don't do it, I just feel a little stuck and crazy. So I think the same goes for music. Like when we're writing a record, I get all this crazy inspiration when I'm writing lyrics, and my entire being goes into this mode of I have to write a record. And I'll be at work, like washing dishes, and I'll have this idea, and I'll have to stop everything and like write it down. So I feel like just letting those moments where you're just living life, like making sure they stay alive is like really important for people, because we have all these amazing ideas. Our brain is so capable of everything. And I feel like we miss a lot of it. So I feel like stopping and taking a moment to remember what you're thinking is important. I don't know if that makes sense.
What it means to be an artist. Yeah, I think creating. I think just creating. I think if you feel like you're not a creative person, you just go for it. Just kind of step over the line, and you're an artist. I think the most important thing in art is that you are trying to relate your feelings and in an abstract way so that someone else can learn from it or appreciate it or just enjoy it. I think artists tend to be people that have been through some things in their life and need and have a well of emotion that they need to get out. And so I don't think you necessarily need to be traumatized to be an artist, but I think it does push people into pursuing art.
I agree. I think that some people do try to make their art relatable, while I think some people make art for themselves, and they get lucky and end up relating to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of up to you.
Okay. So thank you for the interview. Can you tell your last word for listeners?
Final words, Jacqui?
Final words. I just want to thank everyone in Europe that has come out to all of our shows, all of our lovely hosts, anyone that's helped us out every night. Thank you to our tour managers, Pierre and Ben and Omar from Iskander for doing 2 weeks with us. And thank you to Shannon, Drew, and Christian from the label. And I just think it's important to do what you love and do it well, or don't do it well. But I'm going to try to do it as best as I can. And I think that's it for me.
Yeah, thank you to anyone who has helped us on the way and anyone who listens to our music and enjoys it, and hopefully we'll be playing near you soon.
Oh yeah, we do have a date booked
We can talk about.
for like a tour soon.
Oh, okay.
I won't talk about it. I'll just say it like this. But we will be back in Europe.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you.